Hello and welcome to the Motown Show. I'm Shibani Kharat. Now, Nissan is finally making its grand move to shake up India's highly competitive mid-sized SUV segment. This week, the Japanese automaker officially launched the highly anticipated Nissan Tekton with aggressive introductory pricing starting at 10.49 lakh rupees, borrowing bold, muscular styling elements straight from its legendary global sibling, the Nissan Patrol. The Tekton is here to challenge the status quo. From its massive 700-liter boot space to its pure turbo petrol powertrains, there is a lot to unpack. Let's quickly take a look at the car. Nissan has launched the all-new Nissan Tekton with two powertrains, T160 and T280, which is this one. Now, they are calling it the baby petrol, inspired by, of course, Nissan Patrol. It's called Tekton because company says that it's inspired by the Himalayan tectonic plates. This will be their mid-size SUV in a highly competitive compact SUV category that has the likes of Kia Seltos, Hyundai Creta, and so on and so forth. The starting price of this vehicle is 10 lakhs 49,000 rupees and can go up to 18 lakhs 60,000 rupees ex-showroom. That is the price of this particular vehicle. It comes with several customization options as well. There are two powertrains, T160 and T280. This is the T280 powertrain. Inside, of course, there's a lot of digital integration with Google is what you will get inside the vehicle. And the booking starts on July 9th and the deliveries start from July 20th. So this is all new Nissan Tekton. Now, to dig deeper into the corporate strategy, the CMFB platform collaboration and Nissan's long-term product pipeline for the subcontinent, we spoke with Thierry Sabah, the divisional vice president of Nissan Middle East, Saudi Arabia and India. In this exclusive conversation, we discussed how Tecton intends to stand out against entrenched segment leaders like Creta and Seltos, and what this means for Nissan's manufacturing footprint in India, government push for E20 fuel, and much more. Here is a slice of that conversation.
Definitely today is a very big milestone for Nissan in India. This is a new chapter for us.
Right.
We have started this journey back in 2021 with the launch of Magnite.
Right.
Since then, we have made a promise that we are here to stay in India as a brand.
Right.
And we want to make sure we bring the best of what we have to this market.
Right.
So a few months back, we launched a Gravite. And today is again one of the greatest products we are bringing to the Indian market.
Right.
It has been designed, developed, tested, all by Nissan engineers and designers.
Right, right. And during the presentation, it was mentioned that, you know, it's inspired by the tectonic plates in the Himalayas, starting at 10.49 lakhs for this vehicle. What makes it a compelling offering in the mid SUV segment, which has like successful, you know, offerings like the Hyundai Creta for that matter?
Look, what I want to say is that with this car, we brought 75 years of SUV expertise.
Right.
And we've brought the latest technology from around the world, of Nissan world, and we have put it in this car. So this car, in terms of design, is quite appealing. In terms of powertrain and the choice of powertrain we offer is also very much competitive.
Which is two choices of powertrain.
In terms of variants and all the features that you get, including Google, for example, built in.
Right.
And there are many other features that customers are looking for. Even you can use my Nissan app to control the car. So there are many things that we have put in this car.
Right.
And as I said, it's quite inspired by our flagship product that is the Nissan Patrol.
Right.
So we are quite confident that supported by the dealer network that we are expanding and a world-class customer experience at every touch point.
Right.
We are quite confident that this car will make its mark in this segment.
Right, right. Mr. Thierry Sabah, help us understand, for the success in a country like India, of course, and you mentioned the dealer network, but the network is truly the strength for many of the players existing in the country, including the national players, who are getting aggressively into the SUV segment. So what is your strategy there to expand your network, to build like a robust network of players in the country?
Look, our strategy for India, just want to talk at a high level, has two pillars. One is what we call India for India,
right,
and what we call India to the world.
Right.
And what we want to say by that, when it comes to India for India, we're ensuring that we first bring the right lineup, the right products in the right segments.
Sure.
We make sure that the products that we bring are very much compelling.
Right.
This is number one, and are competitive. Two is that working with our dealer network, today we are upgrading all our facilities. We are expanding our network in terms of reach to touch points, whether on sales or after sales. We are upgrading all the facilities.
Sure.
We are digitalizing the whole relationship so customers can have a full transaction online, but also can visit our facilities.
Right.
So, and then also with that, we are making sure that using our finance arm is always provide the latest, I would say, offers to the market.
Right.
And then for Nissan as a hub, India as a hub, export hub, we export today Nissan products to over 60 countries around the world,
right,
using the technology and also, I would say, the products that we have in this market.
Right, and what is the strategy to expand it to, like, markets beyond the metros like Mumbai and Delhi, to take it to the tier 2, tier 3 markets,
Definitely.
where, SUV is drawing increased amount of interest?
Look, India is a very big, large country, very diverse, 28 states. So it's important for us today, part of the network strategy is
right,
to ensure that we are everywhere at every level of the country. So we are working for tier 2, tier 3, and you will be very much surprised that within the next 6 to 8 months, our dealer network will probably double in terms of size.
Right.
Also, what we are making sure that when we speak to customers in terms of communications, we speak their language. We go not as a national, we go more into every city, every dialect, every culture, and this is something that also we started with Graphite, and we will expand it to Tecton.
Right, right. Mr. Sabah, you're launching a vehicle at a point in time in a country where, the larger conversation in the automotive sector is around the E20 fuel push by the government. Of course, people are discussing the pros and cons of the vehicle. There's a big push by the automotive players. What is your stand as we move from E20, let's say, to E80 or E100?
Look, as a company and as a brand, we are working very closely with the governments,
right,
to ensure how the regulations are evolving. It's important that a few things we take into account for alternative powertrain is that looking at what the customer demand is,
right,
looking at the commercial viability of the products, and also making sure that we are fully in line with the country regulations. This is fundamentally the way we are operating in the market. Again, really using our relationships in terms with the government to understand, to work with them, and to ensure that we are fully compliant with what are the regulations for this market.
So are Nissan vehicles E20 compliant and compatible and
yes,
going
we
forward?
Are working, definitely. This is something that we are working on to ensure that, again, we are fully compliant with the country regulations.
Right. Now, since you have introduced Tecton in India, are you testing the market to further get like the newer variant of the Patrol in the country in the days to come?
I want to say on Patrol, it's a question that always comes to me.
Right.
I'm also in charge of the Middle East region,
yeah,
where Patrol is our flagship product.
Right.
So for me, Patrol is beyond just a car. It's an icon, it's
right,
a culture. It's very close to my heart.
Right.
So the moment I took lead of India is definitely something that I want to strive, and I hope I will make it happen.
You will make it happen. So you're saying it's coming soon.
All I'm saying is I'm working very hard to make it happen.
Right.
And we will make an announcement in due time. But as I want to say again, India is a very important market for us, and we will spare no effort to ensure that we bring what is the best from this company to this market to give the best experience to our customers.
Having said that, what other things do we expect from Nissan in the coming months, since you mentioned India is such an important
market? Look, we have announced also in advance that there will be a fourth product coming to India. I would say around Q1 of next year, the first quarter of 2027.
Sure.
So now we are working on that. This is already in the plan, but also definitely we are working on a long-term plan to ensure how we stay relevant, how we keep the brand exciting, and how we bring all this new technology, innovation, and new products to this market.
And how do you stay relevant? How do you make the brand exciting and get the new technology?
Look what we did today. We launched today Tecton from India to the world.
Sure.
This is not just a local launch. Definitely, it's for our Indian base customers, but also we've seen the media coming from Middle East, South Africa, from Japan. So this is also quite a big symbol. And the status to say that we use India also to make sure we launch products to the world.
Well, on that note, it is time for us to take a very short break. You don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. First of all, Hormazd, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. Now, you know, the whole issue around E20 has really spiraled over the last couple of days. From a layman perspective, in simple words, help us understand. If I own a car, how will my life change soon with a nationwide E20 regulation and rollout?
So if you buy a car today, they're all E20 compliant, so you have no issue at all. But you do have to accept the fact that E20, you lose fuel efficiency over E10, so you'll have to live with that. But in terms of maintenance, there's no problem with an E20 car at all. Honestly, yes, there can be degradation, but it's very manageable. And you have to look at it like tires and suspension wearing out when you drive them on bad roads. You know, the car doesn't get destroyed. Just that component gets damaged and you have to replace it. So I think, you know, so that's really where it's at. So I think, you know, but of course, I think the way it's been suddenly rolled out E20 when people wanted E10, the outrage is understandable in some ways. But I think people are also being opportunistic to blame regular adulterated fuel, which we've seen for decades on E20. E20 doesn't work like that. You know, I mean, it's a clean burning fuel. Adulteration is what really causes some of these immediate failures.
Now, what happens if I accidentally put E20 petrol into an older incompatible car?
Well, you know, again, as I said, it's not like putting diesel into petrol. The damage will happen over some time. Now, I own some classic cars. We've used E20 in them as well, you know, and really we keep maintaining them. So nothing's going to happen immediately. It will happen over a period of time. So it's not to say that, you know, there's any going to be sudden damage if you put an E20 fuel. These are all the myths that are, you know, percolating. And there's this standard narrative, the slow death of an engine. Again, as I said, these parts are all replaceable. I mean, just to give you context and perspective, you change your tires, you change your brakes, you change your suspension. And when you do that, the car feels just like it was new. So similarly, you change the items in your fuel delivery system and the car will be fine again. You might have to replace them sooner rather than later. So there could potentially be a higher maintenance cost for someone who is putting E20 in a car that's not absolutely been designed for E20. But don't forget, there are a lot of buffers, there are a lot of margins. So again, it varies from manufacturer to manufacturer. For example, Honda have said that from 2009, they are material compliant, which means all the materials in the fuel delivery system can withstand E20. So there's no problem there at all. So it's you know, it's a complex issue, and I think unfortunately, to me it seems to be blown too much out of proportion.
Now, as an auto expert, help us understand, if I am buying a car today, what is it that I should keep in mind as we move from E20 to higher blends, or even E85 or E100 for that matter, in the days to come?
So there are two issues over here, and they're two separate issues. E85 and E100 are for flex fuel vehicles. They're not the base fuel. So there's a choice. So you won't be forced to have E85 or E100. That's for a flex fuel vehicle, which has already been rolled out. So those vehicles from the get-go have been designed for E85 and E100. Maruti has launched one with the Wagon-R. You've got Suzuki with the Gixxer, which has done that. So, a few models are coming out, still not very much in the thing. The issue is, which a lot of people are worried about, is what happens when the current E20 goes to E25. So again, the E20 vehicles, of course, manufacturers don't like to put this on the record because, they don't want to commit to anything more than what their vehicles were designed for. It's like trucks. Today, manufacturers all design the trucks for overloading, but they don't give an overloading payload factor. They give the standard factor because that's just how it is. So, today an E20 car could comfortably, most of them take E25. But the worry is that if you go to E25, the older vehicles, they could see a lot more damage. So I think the government should stop at E20, go to flex fuels, E85, which are designed for flex fuel vehicles, not that. And it's really it's the base fuel. Everyone was asking for E10. They never gave E10. Okay, they went straight to E20. That's been manageable so far for the older cars. But you go beyond E20 to E25, the older cars then could start having a serious problem. So it's really essential that the government, kind of takes a pause on pushing higher blends of ethanol in the base fuel. The base fuel is really where the issue is, because then you don't have a choice. Everyone has to have a minimum level of E25, which again I say is fine for the newer cars. They can probably have been designed to take it, but the older cars then would have a more of an issue.
Hormazd, since you're covering this sector for such a long time, help us understand, are all the new cars sold today 100% future-proof for E20? Are they E20 compliant, or even future-proof for higher blends?
They have to be by regulation. There is no question about. That's the law. I mean, everyone has to be E20 compliant. You homologate your cars to be E20 compliant. So you can't bring a car in which is not E20 compliant. So that's not an issue for now, an E20 car. It's just going forward. What happens if next year or the year after they bring E25? That's what a lot of people are worried about. That's why people are saying, should I buy a car now or wait until the government, let's say, decides on what it's going to do in the future? And I think that's where really the government needs to be, give some sort of, assurance that, hey, look, we're not going to be jumping every year. And it's not fair to the auto industry, because you have to keep calibrating the engines to kind of, work with the higher ethanol. So there are two things. One is material compliant, which a lot of them have given enough buffer when they E20. They say, look, if you're doing E20, we'll take it to E25 or E27, because they know that's the roadmap in the future. So in a one shot, they just develop the components for a higher blend than what it is right now, just to have that buffer. But the calibration then keeps changing. Your emissions go for a toss, your fuel. So that's a huge cost. It's very complicated. And to keep doing it every few years is just doesn't make sense at all. So I think government needs to pause. I think they should be pushing the flex fuel agenda much harder by giving flex fuel at a competitive price, and kind of really building a flex fuel ecosystem as well. If they want to push ethanol, which I actually think is a good thing. It's good for our energy security. It kind of doesn't have no impact on our foreign exchange reserve. Everything is locally produced and procured, good for the agricultural sector. But the only ones feeling the pain a bit are the motorists, and their interests definitely need to be taken into consideration.
You remember same time around last year, ahead of the festive season, the entire auto industry came together for GST rationalization, and it eventually happened. Will the industry come together to do some pushback on introducing higher blends, according to you?
I think they will definitely do that. I think once the ARAI, they do their own testing, one hopes that look, there is pushback from the auto industry. That's clear. Even from E10 to E20, there was an initial pushback that was quite clear from the Niti Aayog report. But the reality is that these systems are robust, so there were really no major issues, and that's really what the auto industry was saying. So they all made statements that we've not had any problems so far, but that's so far. There is potential further on, because ethanol, you don't see the impact immediately. What's being getting confused is the impact of adulterated fuel is being blamed on ethanol. But it's not really ethanol which is causing that issue. So the ethanol, it's a slow burn. And again, parts that can be easily replaced. So it's not that it's going to be the death of your engine. So I think they will push back. I think going to E25 is very risky, especially for the older engines. And, especially for bikes, which carburetors, they are actually go back to E5. So really, there's quite a gap between what these cars can take as far as ethanol content and what the government is proposing. So I think there will be pushback from the industry. I hope there is. But more importantly, I hope the government takes cognizance of that pushback.
Now tell me, just to stay safe, should I choose a diesel, a EV, instead of completely, going for a petrol to avoid all of these ethanol issues?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because what no one's talking about is that the problems diesel cars have after we shifted to a higher regulation. Now, again, the government, pushed us towards BS6, which is a much cleaner emission norm. And with that came diesel particulate filters, which have their own issues in diesel cars, and a lot of them were clogging. But there's no hue and cry about that, because no one's saying that, oh, you shouldn't have introduced BS6 because my diesel is giving a problem and that sort of thing. So diesels have their own issues. EVs make a lot of sense irrespective of ethanol. I think to me, it's a no-brainer if you're in town and you have your own charging network. But I don't think you should be thinking about a worry of ethanol going forward. I think an E20 car is pretty much future-proof for the highest base blend that the government could plan going forward. It's just that if you have an older vehicle, that's a worry. So it might make sense if you're worried to sell the older vehicle and get a newer one, because then you're closer in terms of material compliance, calibration to the higher blends of ethanol.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. It's monsoon and green is the new black. This is the Geola green color of the Range Rover Sport Diesel. It hinges somewhere between grey and olive, looks gorgeous, looks premium, and of course this car is definitely very, very muscular. I have taken it on a long drive. Let's see how it fares. Underneath the sophisticated British tailoring lies a beast built for effortless mile munching. Powering this machine is a 3-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged mild hybrid diesel engine. It puts out a commanding 300 to 350 horsepower depending on the trim, and a massive wall of torque that pushes this heavy SUV from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just over 6 seconds. Now you step inside the cabin and you will see that Range Rover in fact ditches the old school luxury look. There is of course a lot of sustainable fabric that you see in terms of display. There is an expansive display that you get within the car, and you can control practically everything from music volume to temperature via this big display. There are several places where you can store a lot of things over here. There is a pad for wirelessly charging your device, and of course it can connect via CarPlay to this screen. And then on the top there is an expansive roof. This opens up. I'm not opening right now because it's raining outside, But it is quite amazing sitting inside the cabin. It feels good, it feels premium.
The magic happens when you push the starter button. The 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission channels power to all 4 wheels seamlessly. Despite its massive size, the standard dynamic air suspension and adaptive dynamics make this SUV feel incredibly agile through corners, flatly refusing to compromise on that signature cloud-like Range Rover ride quality.
Now, you may ask why diesel when the world is turning towards electrification. Well, this 48-volt mid-hybrid diesel, in fact, gives you a mileage of 11.3 kilometer per liter. It makes practical sense for India. Now, what does this translate to? Let's say if you're up in the mood for a long monsoon drive, then on a single full tank, you can actually drive from Mumbai to Goa. And that becomes a reality with this particular vehicle, and which is what amazes me about this car.
Exclusivity of this level comes at a steep premium. In India, the Range Rover Sport Diesel variants range from 1.40 crore rupees for the SE Dynamic, climbing up to a staggering 1.87 crore rupees ex-showroom for the top-tier autobiography trim before you even look at custom option list.
Now, living with a vehicle of this particular size, which is like massive, can be a big challenge in tight urban spots like we have in Mumbai, where there is traffic. You have to navigate bumper to bumper traffic. Plus, the parking spots that we have are very, very tiny. Honestly, it took me a while to take this car out of my office parking lot. But then, of course, what helps is the kind of cameras which are very close to the ground that helps you give a fair bit of direction and understanding on, how close the wall is, how close the next vehicle is. The ADAS system is also very solid, sounding off an alarm when you are getting too close to an auto rickshaw or a bike or a vehicle. So yes, it can be tricky driving this car of this size in Mumbai. But yeah, there are ways in which, the systems in place to help you do that.